Hi everyone, welcome to Power of Kindness, a TAL radio show about successful people spreading kindness and making a difference. In our previous episode, we had the pleasure of speaking with Kamran Elahian, founder and chairman of Global Innovation Catalyst. I am sure for those of you who caught Kamran on the previous episode, you recognize that Kamran brings so much experience, advice, and learnings to the table. We are glad to announce Kamran is back to share more light on the innovation economy and the opportunities presented to young people to follow their inspiration and philanthropic pursuits. My name is Priyanka, and together with my co-host Ali, let's hear from Kamran again. I think building on what you said, Kamran, you talked about positive social impact and the innovation economy and then trying to bridge everything together. A lot of times for listeners or the general audience, this may seem like a very daunting task. It sounds like a lot of big things that we need to do. But from your experience, does everything have to be so big? Can we do something small? Can we make a positive social impact on something small, for instance?
Actually, because of the emergence of innovation economy, you are given the opportunity, you being a young person, you are given the opportunity to make money by using software and using your brains and algorithmic content to generate wealth in anywhere in the world. I'll give you one example. This high school kid in Palestine, he had the water is scarce in Israel and in Palestine, in many parts of Middle East. And many of the homes have these storage tanks on top of the building, and the water is stored there. And because of shortage of water and the politics, a typical Palestinian family cannot have access to water all the time when they need it. So a few times per week, the storage tank gets full. So at times, the family have got to decide, are we gonna take a shower or not? We delay it. So we have drinking water, or do we wash dishes or wash the clothes or not, whatever. So this kid had to go a few stairs up, a few floors up, a few times per day to go and check the storage tank and see whether he should check the water level and come back and tell mom and dad that do we have enough water or not? Can we wash dishes or take a shower or not? And he just was not happy about this in the middle of summer, hot weather, keep going up 4 or 5 floors up and do this several times a day. So he went and used a simple microprocessor-based Arduino and some IoT devices for sensors. He went it over there that he could use an app on his mobile phone. He developed it to see, without having to go all the way up there, is the storage tank at full level or 50% or 10%? What are the things? And he saved himself a lot of energy and anguish and hot weather. Whether he could sit in his room and just check on it and say, yes, mom, you can do laundry, or no, don't do that. And then he found out that his friends were quite excited and interested in this, and he gave a few of them free copies of this and made it for them. And then he thought, oh, this is pretty good business. Many other kids don't like to go all the way up there. Not maybe I can sell them this $5 or $10 or $20, whatever. He started to do that in high school. Now, he didn't become Elon Musk and become multi-billionaire, but he makes money, a few $100s per month, which is a lot of money for a kid in Palestine. This is just a very simple example of you use your brain, you use the new ways of disrupting existing way. Disrupting way is you have to walk up, go on the top, open the storage tank, check it, come back down. It's all manual and mechanical. You go and replace it with use of software, IoT, and algorithmic content. And you create a nice, tiny little business which has positive social impact because at a young age he learns how to become entrepreneur. He makes a bit of money, takes the burden off of his family, and later on with many of his friends he can actually start his company by the time he's going to college or finishes high school or whatever. These opportunities were never available before. Now they are available. And learning how to use IoT, how to use Arduino, how to program stuff is all available, and it's not so difficult from my days. My days, you had to go 4 years in university, study programming, learn very difficult things on how to do it. Nowadays, so much of this has become readily available, very easy to use for the young people who are just born into the digital age. And what is interesting is many old people haven't figured out this yet. You know, I was advising one of the delegation from one of the African countries, and they had turned off internet in their country for a whole day. Mm-hmm. And when I asked them, why did you do that? They said that we are having national examination for our high school students going to university. We don't want them to use the internet to find the answers, and then they would cheat. They just use their mobile phone to type in the question, get the answer, and they cheat. So we have turned off the whole internet. And when I was talking to the Minister of Education, I said, what is the value of your education? That somebody goes through 12 years of schooling, that somebody with access to a mobile phone and internet in 5 minutes can find the answer. That's the end of knowledge economy. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is readily available, especially with the emergence of low orbit satellites. You know, Amazon is launching them. SpaceX is launching 6,000 low orbit satellites all over. Each one of them want to provide this for free to everyone, or at a very, very low cost. OneWeb has got similar business model. So many people are working on this high bandwidth, not just 1 megabit, 2 megabit. We are talking about 100 to megabit to 1 gigabyte bandwidth available to everyone. Imagine what's going to happen. And it's not going to be 50 years from now, within the next 5 years, maybe even sooner. Imagine how quickly you can have access to everything you want. Knowledge is readily available to you. So it's become more on how you use this knowledge, use an idea to go and apply it to your own situation, your own community, disrupt how it's done in the past, do it a new way, and make money and create just jobs of future that the older generation is still saying, wow, why is it that we have so many universities and graduates graduate from university and they don't get jobs, they don't find jobs?
That actually leads into my next question, because you've talked about the opportunities for young people, and, you know, innovative young minds will find a place in this economy. However, just from my experience, I graduated 5 years ago from university, and I was taking technology courses that are now obsolete. at this point, because technology continues to change and it continues to develop at a speed in which our education system can't keep up. Do you see education, because I know that that is very important to you and it's important for young people to have access to courses that will teach them how to be successful. Do you see our education system changing with the times?
Oh, absolutely. It has to. Remember, I talked about education 3.0, experiential learning. So education, the university model, all of this has to change. The job of a teacher standing in front of the classroom, that's outdated. University after university who doesn't recognize that is going to go out of business, because people are not going to go and say, hey, I want to study this thing, let me go and pay lots of tuition to go somewhere for 4 years to study something, and I may find a job or may not. People are going to go and sit in front of their computer and say, I wonder how I can become a good, say, entrepreneur. I wonder how I could become a good accountant. I wonder how I could become a good trumpet player. And they do Google searches and they find articles to read, they watch videos, and as more and more of this, the AI would give them some coaching, but the top universities will provide some human mentors, coaches who help you maneuver your way through millions of choices of videos and articles and whatever. And they say, okay, let me see, based on your knowledge, based on your age, based on your thing, you may want to watch this video first, do this exercise, go and work on this homework. Once you did that, then come back, let's look at what you learned. And now you should watch this other one and then go and do this. That's how the new experiential learning education is going to work. It's not going to be you sit in the classroom with 30, 40, 50 other people. One teacher comes and says, here is the topic, go and learn it, and you learn it. And by the time you graduate, you find that all of that is out of that.
Yep. So on that note, actually for experiential learning, so for some of us, as you know, when we were growing up, a lot of our experience was on the ground. When it comes to even things like you having these unique situations around meeting people who are maybe a bit underprivileged, have poverty issues, have challenges in leading a basic life. So that's also a component of experiential learning to me, because it's something that you develop, because it's very easy to look at a picture online and say, oh, I feel sad, I'm sympathetic, but we don't really get that experiential learning piece nowadays, because we are all just so mobile and living out of such countries mostly. So if that is the case, what do you think, or how should youth currently incorporate that experiential learning piece when it comes to giving back to the society? We talked about making a positive change. We also want to talk about how do you spread kindness, all that elements. How is it that we're able to do it without that experiential learning?
Well, actually, as I said, through what we are doing at Global Innovation Catalyst, we are trying to democratize experiential learning and teaching first a large number of entrepreneurs and entrepreneur wannabes and aspiring entrepreneurs to go and create their own companies, their jobs of future themselves, because their governments don't know how to do it for them, and their political system doesn't know it. And many of the corporations, which are incumbents in their markets, in their countries, are fighting them because they don't want change. So a key part of this is develop innovation mindset. Innovation mindset is, first of all, there is always an answer. Just have this belief that just because other people have been doing something for the last 100 years a certain way doesn't mean that you have to do it the same way. There is always a better way to do it. And think about it, but don't just think. Don't just approach it theoretically. Go and get your hands dirty, your feet dirty, start to go to the field, start to go and communicate with your potential customers, potential teammates, potential colleagues, share ideas and see what they say. Don't be afraid that they might tell you this idea sucks. It's horrible. Because 99% of ideas are good till you have your first interaction with the first customer and they tell you, if they're honest with you, they will say, no, we don't want to buy that. They might be kind to you and say it's pretty good, but ask them, okay, give me $1 for it. So, oh, I don't know. Immediately, people, when money comes, they start to think, is this really good or not? The only way you can make good products is through learning by doing it, experiential. You show me something, I say, no, I don't want it. You go and improve it, come back and say, how about this? I say, it's better, but I don't like this part. You go back again, improve it, come back. And this process goes on till you create a fantastic product. And you don't do this day one across everybody. You segment the market. You say, my target is not everybody. You know, when Facebook came, it didn't say my target is everybody. It was only a tool for undergraduates at Harvard University and nowhere else. And they figured out they had a compelling product that these folks wanted to do. Then they opened it up to the whole of Harvard University, then to other universities around Massachusetts area. And then it started to go to all the other colleges around the US. And then slowly it started to become available in other languages, in other countries, in other things. Slowly it grew. So you segment the market, you figure out what age group, what demographic you have, you go and check and get their feedback, and based on that, you fix it and improve it. And just because idea is out there, it's implementation that matters. If you look at it, the idea of selling things over the web has been around for many years. First company that came out was, I remember, Webvan, that failed miserably and spent hundreds of millions of dollars. It finally took Amazon to become successful on that, to do this. But was Amazon able to be successful in India? Not so much. What happened there? Flipkart comes along and it figures out how to go and address a difficult logistic delivery distribution problem, because it is a different problem to solve. If you look at how the goods are distributed in India, it's not the normal just trucks that go and distribute it. It is a rather convoluted, complicated system, and in some places they use trucks, some places they use railroads, some places they use donkeys and camels and elephants, and I don't know, I'm making things up, but lots and lots of different modes of transportation are used to get the goods in the hands of people. And if you want to get the things that they buy on the web at the right time in the hands of people, it has to understand the local thing. And even though Flipkart was not a new idea, implementation and execution was so good that, what was it, Walmart put a lot of money on it at a very high valuation. Or you look at a company like Grab, it's like Uber. The idea of having a ride sharing type of a thing was not a new one. But the Grab figured out in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Vietnam, whatever, people do not just have access to cars. Cars are not the best solution because of traffic. Many people prefer scooters. And so when you take Grab, you will see many countries, they have this uniform. The person says Grab and has got a thing and comes to you and gives you a helmet and you put it on and you hang on to the person and you go. This model does not work in the United States. It does not work in many other countries, but works beautifully in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, many of those countries, because traffic is so bad, you don't want to sit in a car and wait. You want to go in between the things. So getting the idea is a dime a dozen. Many ideas are out there for ride sharing, but implementing and executing it. And you say, Karim, in Middle East was Uber, like Grab was like Uber idea, ride sharing. But why couldn't Uber go and develop its own thing in Middle East? Why did it pay $2.5 billion or $3 billion to buy Karim in Middle East? Mm-hmm. Why is Grab worth a few $1 billion in Asia? It's because they figure out how to implement and execute an idea on the ground where it makes sense. And it does a lot of good because people need to get to places fast and traffic is bad and pollution is bad. So if instead of using a 4-cylinder car, 6-cylinder car, you're going to use a scooter to get to there and whatever, more power to you.
You need that local insight and be able to make those one-to-one connections in order to execute effectively.
Exactly. And that's innovation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. We are out of time, but is there any last thoughts that you have? Anything you want to tell our listeners before we let you go? I could talk to you for another hour.
Well, all I can say is have faith that there is always a way to improve the conditions, the situation, what is around you, and question the status quo. Just say, why? Why should we do this thing the old-fashioned way? Is there a way to use technology, to use software, algorithmic content to do it better? And if there is, how can I go and create a small prototype? We call it MVP, minimum viable product. Create a prototype, get your feet wet, figure out how it works. Don't expect perfection on day one. Expect many, many failures, many problems. Don't be afraid of failure. Just understand that failure, you learn from it, you become better. You fail again, you improve, you fail again till finally you have a perfect product, a product that's good enough that customers are willing to pay money for your product or your service. And then you become an agent of good and create something that benefits society. And that's a lot of joy in that.
So Kamran, just a question for you. What does the power of kindness mean for you?
Well, as you get up every morning and you decide what to do that day, you have two choices. Either you know what you are going to do, or there are times that you do not know whether you should go to the left or you should go to the right. Which one is right? A very good way to figure out what to do is look at simple question. Is this helping humanity? Is this making life of people better? If it does, and you have a choice, do it. If it doesn't, then your heart tells you, do something else if you can. And if you do this and help other people, even when the immediate benefits are not obvious to you, do it. People might call it you are doing an act of kindness and you are just helping people and you're a fool. You shouldn't do that. Don't think that way. What goes around comes around. And many times, if you use this thing, is this good? Is this helping humanity? Is it an act of kindness, an act of compassion? If the answer is yes, do it, and do it over and over and over in everything you do, whether it is engineering, sales, marketing, manufacturing, finance, HR, whatever it is. Keep doing that. It is the recipe for success. Because as I said, in innovation economy, good guys finish first. They don't finish last.
That was beautifully said.
Thank you for joining us this week on Power of Kindness, a TAL radio show powered by Touch a Life Foundation. It has been a pleasure speaking with Kamran over these 2 episodes and how innovation economy and philanthropy are interlinked. More importantly, how the world has changed, and nice guys don't finish last. On this note, do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn at TAL Giving. That's TAL Giving. Or visit our website at touchalife.org and listen to other shows to get inspired and motivated. Stay tuned to next week's Power of Kindness show by Touch a Life Foundation. Remember, one act of kindness can make a difference. My name is Priyanka, and my co-host Ali. We will see you next week.